You don't ignore your inner compass because you're weak. You ignore it because alignment feels risky. Not dangerous. Risky. Risky to your relationships, risky to your image, risky to how you're perceived. And for many people, the real fear isn't rejection. It's being misunderstood. And that's what we're unpacking today. Hello and welcome to Thrive Within. I am your host, Marc Bucksouth, a life coach, educator, and someone who's passionate about helping you live more fully, honestly, and aligned with who you really are. This podcast is your space for real talk and focused coaching on things like confidence, purpose, boundaries, self-doubt, and personal growth. So whether you're on a walk, taking a break, or just giving your brain a moment to breathe, I am so glad you're here. And if you stay with me long enough, you'll see that's where we're always heading in the same direction, helping you stop chasing validation and start trusting yourself. And the way that we do that is by learning to follow your inner compass. Last episode, we talked about irritation, overthinking, misalignment. There's a deeper layer. If you can feel misalignment, why do you keep choosing approval? Why do you stay quiet when something feels off? Why do you add disclaimers to your own opinions? Why do you soften your stance? It's not always fear of rejection. Some of you aren't afraid of conflict at all. You've had conflict before. You can handle it. The real fear is subtler. It's being misunderstood. Being rejected says, I don't want you. Being misunderstood says, I don't see you. And that hits differently. Being misunderstood creates a particular tension. It feels unfair. It feels inaccurate. It feels like someone reduced you to something that you're not. When that happens, your instinct is to correct it, to clarify, to explain more, to soften your position so the other person sees your intention clearly. But here's the problem. You can't control how someone interprets you. You can only control whether you're aligned, whether you start prioritizing being understood over being aligned. You begin editing yourself, and editing over time turns into self-erasing. Not dramatically, but subtly. Let's say you're in a meeting. Disagree with the direction things are going, not emotionally, but logically. And it just doesn't feel aligned. You speak up, you're calm, you're clear, you're direct. But someone responds with, so you're saying this whole thing is wrong. Now you feel it. The tightening. You weren't attacking the strategy, you were just offering input. And now you're being framed as difficult, misunderstood. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can clarify endlessly, backtrack slightly, soften your position, or stay in line and let them interpret it however they will. Most people soften. Not because they're afraid, but because they don't want to be mischaracterized. That's the risk of alignment. It exposes you to interpretation. It's the same in relationships. You say you need space, not because you're pulling away, but because you're overwhelmed. And the other person says, so you don't want to spend time with me anymore? Now you're misunderstood. And instead of holding your ground calmly, you rush to repair it. You explain more than necessary. You dilute your boundary so they don't feel hurt. And subtly, your need disappears. And that's how alignment erodes, not through confrontation, but through over-clarification. So let's slow down for a moment. Imagine this happening in real time. You say something aligned, something clear, direct, honest, and someone pauses. The expression shifts slightly. There's a subtle change in the tone, and your mind immediately starts scanning. Did that land wrong? Did I say too much? Should I clarify? Notice how fast this happens. The microsecond of self-doubt. It's not weakness. That's conditioning. You've been trained to monitor the room before you monitor yourself. Now watch what usually happens next? You start explaining. You soften your words. You add context. You try to make sure your intention is understood perfectly. And here's what you rarely ask. Was I aligned? Instead, you ask, were they comfortable? That shift is everything. Now, imagine the alternative. You say something aligned. You notice a shift in the room. You feel the discomfort rise, and you don't rush to fix it. You stay calm. You stay grounded. You let the silence exist. That's alignment under pressure. That's self-trust in motion, and it feels risky. Not because it's wrong, but because you're exposed. Being misunderstood will happen, even when you speak clearly, even when your intentions are clean, even when you explain yourself. Some people will interpret you through their own lens. You cannot control that. What you can control is whether you shrink to prevent it, and every time you choose not to shrink, your compass gets louder. Your nervous system gets stronger. Your identity gets clearer. Your nervous system needs misunderstanding as instability. Instability threatens belonging. Belonging feels safe. So when alignment risks belonging, even suddenly your body tightens. You think, this could shift how they see me. And instead of sitting in that discomfort, you move to smooth it over. Approval restores stability, even at the cost of clarity. That's why approval feels safer. Not because it's better, but because it's predictable. The long-term cost? Here's what's happening long-term. You become very good at over-explaining yourself, very good at anticipating reactions, very good at pre-editing your words, and people think they know you, but they only know the curated version of you. Then you start feeling unseen. But you're not hiding. You crave understanding, but you aren't fully showing up. And the more that you adjust yourself to avoiding being misunderstood, the less aligned you feel. And the cycle continues. There's a difference between being liked and being respected. Being liked requires comfort. Being respected requires clarity. Clarity requires alignment. Alignment sometimes means someone won't fully understand you. That's part of maturity. You would rather be respected for who you are than liked for who you're pretending to be. That's not ego. That's integrity. This week, try something small. State one opinion without cushioning it. Set one boundary without over-explaining it. Make one decision without polling multiple people. And when the discomfort shows up, don't rush to fix it. Just sit with it. Notice that you're still okay. Notice that misunderstanding didn't destroy you. That's how your nervous system recalibrates. That's how alignment becomes less risky. Alignment will always feel slightly risky because it exposes you to interpretation, but living misaligned exposes you to something worse: disconnection from yourself. When you trust your inner compass enough to risk being misunderstood, you stop chasing approval. You become steady, and steady people don't need the room to agree. They need to be aligned. I'll see you next time.